So here it is, just stated very simply. I believe self-care isn't selfish. It's one of the least selfish things we can do, because it is that oxygen mask, and we care for our own mental and emotional needs first, so that we're in a good place to take care of others. So you guys ready? Can we dive into, and we're going to go through these fast, but 8 quick and easy self-care strategies.
All right, sipping your coffee slowly. Now we put this one because that kind of resonates with us. You probably have noticed me grabbing this a lot. Jed and I love coffee. And one thing that we'll notice is that when we get hectic and busy, I will down this coffee and not even taste it, right? And so just taking that moment to like, this is something that I enjoy. I like the warmth of the cup. I like to sit and sip it, right? And that kind of fills my bucket and helps me get ready for the day. Plus the little shot of caffeine helps with 5 kids. So, but what is your thing? Maybe it's, maybe it's tea. Maybe it's a walk. When I take my walk in the morning, are you busy on your phone and I'm getting busy texting and the walk is over and I didn't even, maybe I need to leave my phone at home and I need to stop and enjoy these beautiful fall colors and I need to kind of be present in that moment. So whatever is kind of a grounding activity for you that fills your cup, and you can call it that. We call it sip our coffee because that's a good, reminder for us. But whatever that language is for you, what is it that you need to do that you slow down, kind of ground in that moment, and take the time to actually be present in the moment.
Yeah. So here's the interactive part. Open up the chat, put your favorite beverage or favorite treat in there. I'm curious. I would love to know. I asked this yesterday to a group of college students. One of them said French fries. And so
eat your French fries slowly.
Yes. But this really comes from, the big word is mindfulness. And the whole idea is just being present in the moment. Because there's times when we're going so fast, we don't enjoy the things we enjoy. So this is all about getting present in the here and now, where you're safe, life is good, and just experiencing that
and
moment.
Let me show you, because here's my coffee mug. Can you see? It says stay rooted. So this is my little reminder as I am sipping my coffee. This is my reminder too, visually, to stay rooted. This means stay grounded, stay deeply rooted in the things that so it's my little visual reminder as I'm sipping my coffee to remember to just slow down. Slow down, get grounded, stay present in the moment, because then when those high winds come, if you have deep, strong roots, those difficult moments can't topple you, right? If I have those deep, strong roots, but that has to be a everyday practice, that we're growing those roots and we're staying grounded, we're staying present in the moment so that we can handle what's coming, right? Life is going to life you. If life is going fantastic right now, that's awesome. But don't get so comfortable in that you're not ready for the next time that life lifes you and gets you, right? You have to take that time to cultivate those roots and make sure that you're deeply grounded.
I love this. And look, we're getting some comments. People say we like coffee, chocolate too. We are right there with you. Coffee and chocolate. Makes me know better.
So good. Chocolate with my coffee. Ceremonial cocoa. Ooh. I'm curious about that one, Jessica.
And more coffee.
More coffee.
All right. So number 2, I like this one a lot. I think this is huge. And this started kind of from your idea. So you want to...
Sure. I, as a mom of little people, I was kind of on a mom's site looking at some things one day, and something kind of jumped out that really made me laugh because, I was getting kind of stuck in these moments with my kids where I would get overwhelmed and frustrated, and I'd be kind of snappy. I would yell, things that happened that were kind of, again, the pot bubbling over, and I wasn't behaving in a way that was kind of in line with my values as a parent. Anyway, so I saw this post, and in it she said kind of that when the day is going wrong, and it's kind of veering off course, she would yell plot twist, kind of like it was a movie plot twist, and just kind of do a 180. And that was just kind of a verbal, if you ever want to kind of shock your kids, if you've got little ones at home, in the middle of some tantrums or some, something that's not going quite right, just yell plot twist and see what they do. But it's that idea of like, okay, stop, reset, like, let's try this again. And even having that saying out loud is helpful sometimes. So just, no, we need to stop. let's try it a different way, or let's do something different. Like, we need to walk away from this right now and do something different for a little while.
Absolutely. Now, if you're a guy, it might look a little bit different. You might not want to yell out plot twist, but anybody ever played Nintendo, like the original one? Remember having a really bad game of Super Mario? You just reach over, hit that reset button, and you're like, yes, I get to do this again. If you're a Monopoly fan, there's that Monopoly get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Golf has mulligans. It's the whole idea of a do-over. And we use this with ourselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes with our whole family. Because there's been nights where you and I have talked and we said, man, we just need to put the kids to bed early tonight because their attitude stinks. Then we pause for a moment and we're like, yeah, we need to go put ourselves on a timeout too because our attitude stinks. We're just as much of the problem.
Because, hey, kids kind of are reflections of what's happening with you a lot of the time, right? Those mirroring neurons fire. So oftentimes if the kids are dysregulated or they have a bad attitude, if we really stop and look, it's because Jed and I are having a bad attitude or kind of having a bad day. So often they are little reflections of what is happening in us, right? So this is a powerful tool to use for couples too. That sometimes when we get stuck in a discussion or something where we're kind of going round and round, like, nope, stop, reset. Like, we either need to walk away from this conversation and come back to it later, or we just need to like change the way that we're handling the conversation.
When we've had nights where we've gathered everybody together, all the kids, and the kids think, uh-oh, it's coming, because they know everybody's had that bad mood. And we're like, guys, we're watching a movie, we're making popcorn, and after that, we're starting fresh. Yeah. And it really is our reset button. So our suggestion is, with COVID, with high stress, sometimes just recognizing, hey, I'm acting out of character right now. Can I just get a do-over? You know, in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, maybe some resets and some do-overs and just moving towards forgiveness fast are okay. Yeah. Not appropriate for every situation, but a lot of times with the small stuff, when someone's just got a bad attitude, to say, I want to reset. Can we just start over? That can be huge. All right. So we've got 8 of these. We're going to move through some of these pretty quick.
Yeah, and our automatic negative thoughts. So this can come about when we're thinking like, gosh, my boss is just, he's giving me these things because he doesn't understand my job and he doesn't care about how busy I am, right? And so you might be thinking that might just kind of automatically pop into your brain, or it might be, gosh, Chad woke up in the morning and he got out of bed and he didn't kiss me good morning. He must be mad at me, right? And that could set the whole tone for the whole day. If I don't acknowledge that that's the thought that I'm thinking, that's going to cause me to feel like, well, what is wrong with him that he's mad at me already? And so now I'm going to act kind of uppity with him or whatever. But recognizing those thoughts right away and addressing them. So, and that can be as simple as going and asking, like, gosh, you got up fast this morning and you didn't even say good morning. Like, what's up? Which often is like, oh no, there was something that popped in my head and I had to go do it really fast, right? But if you let those fester, that can become like a barrier in your connection and your relationship during the day. And oftentimes, if we're being really honest, it's over little silly things. Right? And if we just address it really quickly and be upfront and open about it, or just say, gosh, there is no reason for me to think he has never said he's mad. It was just a quick get up. Like, maybe I don't even need to address it. I can just address it with myself. Like, why am I feeling that way?
Yeah. So here's the process for squashing ants, and pretty easy. 1, just catch yourself when you're in a bad mood. 2, try to recognize the thought behind it, because I guarantee you it's there. You might not be good at identifying it yet, but you'll get better and better with practice, and you'll be able to tie some specific thought to that negative emotion. Then 2 questions to ask. First of all, assume the best and ask, how could I think about this differently? So it works really good in relationships. Assume that good intent.
So I know that Jed wakes up really early in the morning to work. Jed is working hard for the family. This has nothing to do with me. I can replace that thought right away, right there.
Yeah. Or 2, ask what's good about this. And there's always, always, always something good. So it might be a learning experience, a growing experience. We may not like it, but the truth is sometimes in the really hard stuff, man, that's when we learn the most, when we grow the most. And I know for you and I, when we had just a whole lot of stressors pile up one after another early on in our marriage, you've looked back a number of times and said, man, I'm so thankful for that because that taught us how to work together fast. Now, maybe not thankful for the stressors itself, but thankful for how quickly it helped us grow together. So ask, how could I think about this differently? And what's good about this?
All right. Pay down your sleep debt. Sorry. Catching up on sleep makes everything feel better, right? It is really hard to navigate our day when we are exhausted. And our tolerance level for everyday stressors is so much lower. Our brain needs that time to just kind of power down and get some sleep. And here's the thing, in the midst of a worldwide pandemic and a chronic stress event, sleep is one of the first things to go.
Yeah. And you know, when sleep really hit me, it hit both of us. When Addison was born and I took our girls to the tennis courts, neighbor came over to me, looked at Addison, who was snuggled in my arm, and said, oh, she's so cute. What's her name? And the worst feeling I've ever had, because we had talked about Addison's name for months and months. We had called her Addison, and as soon as they asked that question, my mind went blank. And I knew it was there. And I could feel the wheels turning and turning and turning. Then I could just feel all the blood rush in my face. And your dad was there, which made it 10 times worse because I had to look up at my father-in-law, who was probably about 6'3" or 6'4", be like, you've got to help me out.
Yeah. So, it's true that you get that like brain fog, right? If you're not getting the sleep. So whatever you need to do is set routines, do like the music at night to help you get done. I mean, if you need some melatonin, if you're doing the diffusing and things like that, get some lavender, make sure you have soft lights, have that kind of routine to get your body ready for bed, whatever you need to do to get you through. It's such an important piece. And here's the thing, we just talked about the automatic negative thoughts. When I am tired, I am more likely to be, on the lookout for things that my spouse and my kids are doing that are irritants, right? I have a lower tolerance for them because I'm tired. And so I'm on the lookout for them. I'm not as good at identifying those automatic negative thoughts. So when I get mad at Jed, I get amplified mad, right? And it's not over anything other than the fact that I'm so tired. I can't manage my own. I can't self-regulate. I can't think clearly to identify those negative thoughts and squash them quickly. So it truly is, it's so important. It's so important. And here's the thing is, I will get stuck in this where I'll feel like I have so much to do, right? And this might be true because if you're working from home, if you've got kids that are at home working, like the house is just it's hard to set boundaries because now this is home, this is office, this is everything. And so there's just so much to do, right? And so it might be tempting to I'll just stay up late and get this cleaned and then I'll be able to sleep because I'll feel better. And the problem with that is that you are less productive the next day because you're so tired, right? And so you'll kind of get into this endless loop where you can't keep up during the day because you're just kind of foggy. So it's so important because you will be more productive when you take that sleep. You will be more able to connect with the people around you when you get that sleep. It's just so, I can't say that. It's important.
Love that. Well, these are all simple things that really can, even though they sound easy, if you actually do they really do have the ability to change a relationship in just a couple moments. All right, so right now, where you're at, if you're in your computer, if you're at home, just take a deep breath with me. Then if you would put your hands on your keyboard and just type in which one of these resonated with you. We've got a few more to go, but I love comments. I love feedback. So is there one of these so far where it was just kind of like an aha moment where you're like,
this is the one I need to really focus on right now?
Well, and as a therapist, I know I need all of these and I know it up here. And there's still times where I'm exhausted. It's like, I don't need to learn about self-care. I teach that. Well, a lot of us know this, but we don't know it with our hearts and with our hands. Just that simple reminder of get some sleep, enjoy the moment, take a minute to reset. That can be huge. All right, Should we jump into this one?
Yep.
So phone a cheerful friend. So Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has that lifeline, phone a friend. And self-care, just as important to phone a cheerful friend.
Yeah, and we put that there because if I am feeling upset and I'm like, well, Jed did this today and it just made me mad, and I call somebody that I know is gonna, yeah, gosh, Jed, you know, we should do something about that guy.
Yeah, don't call those people. Please don't call.
So I have people that I know that I can call who will feed kind of this emotional monster, right? And sometimes it's kind of very tempting to pick up the phone and call them because they will like, yeah, let's get them. Like, and they will feed into whatever emotion that I have. And then there are friends that I have that I will call and say, Jed did this. And they'll say, well, that's a lot of victim talk you're using right now. And that doesn't sound cheerful, but it's honest, right? That I can have friends that kind of say, you know, that I leave the conversation feeling supported and feeling better. And there are friends that I can call where I will leave the conversation feeling even more angry at him than when I started, right? And so just kind of being really honest about who is the one that I have the relationship with, who can be honest with me, who's not going to jump on my bandwagon, but is going to be a problem solver, who could just listen to where I'm at right now and provide kind of honest feedback for me. You know, when I'm feeling kind of, I can call a friend who is going to tell me, and we're going to go back and forth and try to one up each other on how bad our days are, you know. And then I have another friend who is going to kind of, oh, but it sounds like you did this, or I saw a picture of this, and kind of like pull out like, oh, but there's also these really good things going on in your life, or I noticed this. And again, really the tone of the conversation is that when I leave that conversation, I'm feeling better, not worse. Right?
Love it.
So being honest about who those are, right?
So we got some great feedback. Thank you guys. Got as far as what resonates with you. Sleep is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Use the reset button.
The sleep debt again.
Susan, let's go canoe. Yes, love that one. Go canoeing. We should though.
Yeah.
Susan was an amazing speaker at our Thriving at Home virtual summit, and love the energy and the idea. I'm all for the canoeing.
Yeah.
All right. So
speaking of canoeing.
yes, it falls right into this, huh?
Getting active.
All right. Sue, good timing. Love it. So aerobic activity, it's actually been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression just as good as medication does. Really get your natural endorphins going. Now, there is a problem. If you do hit that state of anxiety or depression, the last thing you're going to want to do is go exercise. You know, it's going to feel like, man, I just need to hide under the covers, close the window, stay in bed all day. I don't want to go out. And so the whole idea of getting active is, man, you've got to be proactive about it. If you feel that stress rising, go for a run now. Go for a walk now.
Yeah.
Go canoeing now.
Yeah. Get outside, get active, get fresh air, get that vitamin D from the sun, you know, whatever it is. And if you need to start small, that is okay. You know, Jed is the kind of person that when he gets active, he goes and runs around our lake, which is a 9-mile run. I'm the kind of person that, like, when I need to go get active, I like to walk around the block. So wherever you're okay, that's okay. Like, you don't need to be Jed and go run around the block. If you are, I mean, the lake, if you are, that's awesome. But don't push yourself to do more than what you need right now. And here's the thing is, once you start getting active, you know, you get those endorphins and you want to do more. And that might not happen right away. But as you're getting consistent, as you're getting out, as you're getting the sunlight and you're feeling better, you will want to do more. In therapy, we call this behavioral activation, right? That we need to get you up and moving. So it can be baby steps at first. It can be walking outside to get the mail if you really are kind of down, you know, and you're having a hard time getting up, making sure that you go outside every day, go walk out, get the mail. Well, next time add a loop around your block, and then get the mail and bring it in, right? Add those little habits to get you going. if you are wanting a connection time with your spouse, get active together. One of the things we did this summer was I ran around the lake with him. I went from my walk around the block to running around the lake with him. And that was so fun, not because we were talking, because he was like walking while I was running. And that's okay too. but just that time spent together, being out, being active, that is a great connection with your spouse or significant other.
And 9.25 miles, you did it.
Did it.
All right.
I didn't do it again. If we're being really honest.
So here we go. Next one is smile gently. And I'm going to show this off because I've got it here. But this is my copy of Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So you can still see the title on the spine. It's probably about the only, and I saved it because my mom got me this as a junior in high school. And she said, Jed, I'm going to give you $10 every time you read this, which was genius because $10 was a lot of money when you're a high schooler and don't have a job. And so you can see it's been underlined in a couple different types of highlighter. Now, one chapter is every chapter has a summary at the end. And one chapter, the end summary is smile. And the whole idea is this: we are biopsychosocial beings, which means we're a lot like spaghetti. Everything intertwines with everything else. And so the simple act of smiling tells our brain, hey, it's time to think happier thoughts now. And then our brain tells ourselves, it's time to get up out of bed, get moving, get energized. And so a smile is not going to fix everything, but it really is, or can be, that trigger point to start spiraling up.
Yeah, and we talk in cognitive behavioral therapy, we talk about like you have a thought and then a feeling and then a behavior. And sometimes when we need to feel better, we will reverse the cycle, right? And so we will work backwards. So just like with the behavioral activation, I get my body moving, it gets the endorphins, and I start to feel better, and then I can start addressing those negative thoughts, right? And it's the same with the smile. The smile can be the behavior, right? And then it also kind of has that compound effect. Like if you're in kind of a rut with a spouse, so because of the mirroring neurons, people can't help but kind of smile back unless they're really, really angry at you. But when you smile at someone, they will typically smile back, right? And so that is a quick connection too. Like, so just kind of flipping that script a little bit and kind of finding that connection moment too.
Okay, so fun experiment. If you doubt this works, here's my dare. Here's my challenge for you. Next time a baby smiles at you, I dare you to not smile back. Here's what's going to happen. You might remember this, but you're going to smile so quickly. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I was trying not to smile. It's just going to be like that though, because that's what our bodies do. Somebody smiles at us and those mirror neurons say, oh, I got to smile back. So here's how couples can use this. The next time you catch yourself going in that downward slump, try that soft, warm, gentle smile. Not a big, creepy Joker smile, because your loved one's going to be like, all right, what's that about? Are you laughing at? We don't want that. But just do that soft, warm, gentle smile and see if you can start changing the tone of the conversation, the feel in the room. And a lot of times that's enough to get things to start spiraling up. And then here's the one to stack with it, which is just those big, slow, deep breaths.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, in the midst of everything that's going on, I know that I'm running a little high right now, and stress is pretty high, and it's been a time of chronic stress. So I have an alarm that goes off on my phone every day at 12 o'clock. So kind of right in the middle of my day, there's an alarm that plays, which is really funny when I'm at school, because every day at 12, I have a group of 5th grade boys, and they think someone calls me every day at noon. And it's kind of perfect because 5th grade boys aren't like the easiest people to work with. So right in the middle of the group, I stop, and they don't even notice that I'm doing it because they're so busy trying to figure out who's calling me every day at noon. And it is remarkable how much it will help to just stop. And the same is true in conversations, right? So if we're in a disagreement or we're not just taking that time to like, let's just pause. Let's pause the conversation, maybe hit that reset button and just take a couple deep breaths, because you get that oxygen up into your brain. You start thinking clearly again, turning off that emergency response system, get out of our downstairs brain into our upstairs thinking brain, and be able to start resolving conflict in a more productive way.
Yeah, so I was looking at our comments and some of the great book, yes, How to Win Friends and Influence People, absolutely awesome. Jessica, you've got me curious. I have no idea what a chicken hug is. I want to know more. Chicken hugging is therapeutic. I absolutely love it. David says, I just got home from the gym. Way to go. Yeah. Great way to do Saturdays. So just one more word on breathing deeply. Our brain has this fight or flight system, tiny little almond-shaped portion of our brain called the amygdala. And when it's activated, it turns off the frontal cortex, or that critical thinking part of our brain, almost like a light switch. And so if you're triggered or your loved one's triggered, and you're looking and you're like, man, my loved one is going crazy. They've lost their, what's going on? Well, probably they're triggered and they're thinking with that little teeny tiny almond-shaped portion of their brain, which really, it takes a long time to cool down, right? I mean, it's not a quick fix.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about once you've kind of popped it. So I teach it like this. This is your hand brain. So this is your prefrontal cortex, right? And when you are walking through the woods and you see a bear, and so his hair is standing on end and his prefrontal cortex is gone and he's only thinking with his midbrain. This would be the amygdala, right? So this would be our downstairs emotional brain. And no longer am I thinking about, is it a brown bear? I wonder what it ate today. Like, you don't have those thoughts. Your emotional brain takes over, and you prepare to fight, flight, or freeze, right? And the same happens when we feel like we talked about that pot kind of bubbling up. And so it happens when we're in conflict too, because we feel emotionally threatened, right? And I feel a need to kind of put up walls and to protect myself, or I get defensive, right? And so I kind of pop my top, and now I'm thinking with my emotional brain. I'm not talking through in a really productive way. So you're thinking with this, like your midbrain, your downstairs brain. And so when we talk about the breathing deeply, it's that stop it. So literally getting oxygen to your brain so we can start to close and start to do our problem solving again. Now, the problem is once your top is popped, it does take a while, right? So it could be that if there's been a time of high conflict, that you've been feeling really, really stressed, you've been feeling in conflict with your spouse or significant other for a long period of time, or things just got really, really heated in this moment, right? That it might be that we need to step away from the conversation, because a couple deep breaths isn't going to close the top. Like, it'll help me feel a little bit better, and then I need to do a little more and a little more and a little more until that top is closed. And sometimes that can take 24 hours to do. So the research kind of shows that release of chemical in your body that would get you ready to run from the bear, and it now is getting you ready to fight with your spouse, right? It takes a while for those chemicals to come down in your body and to dissipate. And so you are highly likely, I might take those few breaths, and then he says, well, I think we need to talk about it. No, we don't need to talk about it. You just need to fix it, right? And I'm right back here to my top is popped. So if you notice that kind of a cycle happening, it might be just saying, like, I need time. Like, I think we just need time. I think we need to just step away, get a good night's sleep, and readdress this tomorrow when we're more ready to do so, and just being willing to be honest about that. And then, if your significant other says that too, being willing to accept that. Sometimes, I don't know if anyone else feels that, but if Jed is like, let's pause this conversation, we just need some time to think on it. I'm like, no, we need to solve it right now, because I'm a planner and I need to know what's happening, and I don't want to walk away from it. And so in that moment too, I have to be willing to say, okay, both of us need to walk away. And then the next important step is both be willing to come back, right? Just now pretending like, oh, well, things are kind of quiet and good, so let's just not talk about it again. Wait until it bubbles up again. You want to address that issue when you're back, you're calm, you're ready, you have the space to do that in a productive manner.
I love that. And, there's a lot of ways to walk away. Sometimes it's just walking away from the disagreement and just being okay with the uncomfortableness of we haven't solved this issue yet, but hey, we can sit down on the couch next to each other and watch reruns of The Office and laugh together before we fix everything. And so sometimes it's just that pause and that reset button. And we're going to take a break from this for now. All right, guys, we are almost at that hour. We're probably going to go about 15 minutes more, and we'll run through these quickly because there's one more key strategy that we want to dive into. But this wrapped up that extreme self-care. And in the comments, again, first take a big breath with us. Then put your hands on the keyboard. I would love to know, what's your takeaway? Is there a, man, that's the idea that's going to be the needle mover for me and for our relationship, is remember, this is the groundwork. This isn't to fix everything, but it's to kind of address those you problems and to say, hey, how can I be that pebble that sends ripples of positive change in the relationship? And then I borrowed these from the kiddos for our example, because we're diving into extreme self-care.
Yep.
And extreme self-care is all about taking these ideas and stacking them together. I love the example in this physics paper called domino chain reaction. And the whole idea is this: every domino in a chain of dominoes can knock over a block 1.5 times bigger than itself. So a 2-inch domino can knock down a 3-inch domino, which will topple a 4.5-inch domino, which you think about and you think, oh, sounds like a cute project for a middle school physics class, right? One problem, you get to domino number 30, and that's going to topple the highest skyscraper. So you've got maybe 5 or 6 dominoes if you're a teacher that you can stack up in the classroom, and you're like, okay, this is getting out of hand. So extreme care is all about that exponential growth. It's about, hey, we're going to take a couple deep breaths. We're going to phone a positive friend. We're going to use our reset button and just stacking those on top of each other and moving towards that exponential growth.